Hello guys, welcome to another video. In this video, we would be seeing what is flows in CrewAI. Let's understand what is flows first. Flows allows you to create structured, event-driven workflows. They provide a seamless way to connect multiple tasks, manage states, and control the flow of execution in your AI application. So one major thing is you can manage the state here, and also you can kind of create some control flow where if this satisfies, then go and trigger that crew. So just to give a context, like inside the flows, we can trigger the crews. So before we have seen how to create the crew, and inside the crew will just manage the agents and tasks. This is like this coordinator. It will just manage the agents and tasks, right? So now that crew can be used inside these flows. Not only using the crews, we can have some kind of control statements kind of where like if this is satisfied, then do that. If that is satisfied, then do this. Some kind of extra event-driven workflows can be created in flows. With flows, you can easily design and implement multi-step process that leverage the full potential of CrewAI capabilities. So what are the CrewAI capabilities? Easily chain together multiple crews and tasks to create complex AI workflow. That's what I said, right? We can trigger multiple crews and tasks, and we can chain those crews and tasks as well. And also state management. I'll tell you what is state management. And also event-driven workflow, built on event-driven model, allowing for dynamic and responsive workflows. We'll see this as well. So as I said, we can implement the conditional logics, loops, and branching within your workflows. So to understand flows, we are going to implement this particular POC. So what we are going to do in this POC is, so after we order the food in Zomato or Swiggy, it will ask for the feedback, right? So I just built a small POC for the feedback management part, just to explain and show you what is flows. So it will print out some creative message using LLM on about the tasty foods. So once it prints that, then it will ask for the feedback for the food which you have tasted in the specific restaurant. So once you give the feedback, then it will segregate or else it will extract the feedback and the restaurant name separately using state management, and then it will categorize the foods into good, neutral, and bad. If the food is good, then it will just print out another creative message using LLMs asking to reorder again. And in case if the food is bad, then it will print out an apology message, and then it will give us a coupon code and then ask us to order again with that coupon code. In case if the food, in case if the review is normal or neutral, then it will suggest some other better restaurants for you. So this is the POC which we are going to implement using flows in CrewAI. So to create a CrewAI project with the flows, you have to run this particular command: CrewAI create flow and the project name. In case if you want to create the project with crews alone, then you have to mention crew here instead of flow. So it's a flow project. So we have to mention CrewAI create flow and the name. That's it. And it will just create our project. That's it. So now we have to come to the .env file, and we have to mention the OpenAI API key, because I'm using OpenAI LLM here. That's it. That's the first thing we need to do. And after this, if you see, the project gets created something like that. Inside SRC, it will have a folder here, inside which it will have one folder for crews and another folder for tools. So in case if you have any custom tools, you can create a tools and everything inside this folder. And this is a main.py file. Inside this is where we write all the control flow and all. And inside crews, it's just a crew project where you can create a folder, and inside those folders you will have the configs for agents and tasks and the crew.py file. So here I have 3 crews in my project. One is for bad review, one is for good review, one is for neutral review. So this is how I have created my project structure, and I'll explain you step by step. So inside my main.py, if you see, I have a class called food review state. So this is the state management, and it is inheriting the base model. Here I have 3 variables: review type, review, and restaurant name. And what I'm doing is, so I'm declaring these variables, and the values to these variables is assigned somewhere inside my logic, and that can be reused whenever I want once it is assigned. So that's called the state management. So that's what is being happened here. I'll show you that. So I just created the state class once, and I have 3 variables inside, and then I'm creating a flow class here, food review flow, and it is inheriting this above state class. That's it. I'm using OpenAI LLMs, and this is the model I want to use. And if you see inside the flows, the code starts with this, with the method which has this particular annotation at the rate start. So the code starts here. So what I am doing here is I am just calling an LLM, and what is the user message I am giving to that LLM? Generate a one-liner message about a tasty food which should bring smile on the customer face after reading it. That's it. So it will create some good one-liner message on a tasty food. That's it. So I'm just printing that particular message here. That's it. And now if you see the code starts here. Now if you see, I have another method which in the decorator name is listen here, and it is using some other method name called generate food liner. So this is how we create a control flow here. So the code starts here with the method which has a decorator as start, and then the next step will be this one, because after start so we wrote a listen and then the name of the method which has the decorator start, right? So once this is done, this particular method gets executed. So this will be listening to this particular method, and once this particular method is executed, then this particular method gets executed. If you see here I am just asking the user to give the review. I am eager to hear the review of the food you have tasted. Please comment along with the restaurant name. I have just asked the user. I am using input. So I mean the text which the user has typed will be assigned to this variable. This is called the state management. So this review which we have declared here will have the review which user has typed. Okay. And now we can use this review wherever we want. So that's the state management here. So this particular method will return that review. That's it. And again, I have another method, and this method is listening to this particular method. I mean, which is the above one. So once this gets executed, as the categorized review is listening to take review input. So once this take review input is executed, this particular method gets executed. Here, what am I doing? This categorized review, in this method, we are just categorizing the review the user has given into 3: good, neutral, or bad. That's it. If you see, that is the user input I am giving to the LLM. Here is the review user has provided, the review, that's it, which we have stored in the state above. And you are the review categorizer. Please categorize it into any of the following 3: good, neutral, bad. Respond with only one of these 3 choices. No extra text. I'm just giving it to the LLM. So the first method will just categorize into good, neutral, or bad, and the second method will just extract the restaurant name from the review which the user has given to us. That's it. This method is also listening to this take review input method, this method. So what's happening is, once this take review input method is executed, these 2 methods gets executed, and in the second method I am just extracting the restaurant name from the text which he has typed, the user has typed. I'll show you by running it as well. And once, if you see, we along with the decorator start and listen, we have another thing called router. So if you have a method with the decorator as router, you can route the workflow based on the return type. So what is this router doing? So this is listening to 2 methods. One is fetch restaurant name, another is categorize review. So as I said, if you have any router decorator on a method, this method will return some text. So if the review type is good, it is returning good. If the review type is neutral, it returns neutral. If the review type is bad, it returns bad. So now what the next method does is, we have 3 extra methods here. One is listening to good, one is listening to bad, one is listening to neutral. So based on the response we got, the specific method gets triggered. So if the LLM has categorized our review as good, then this particular method gets executed. If the LLM has categorized our review as bad, this particular method gets executed. If the LLM has categorized our review as neutral, this particular method gets executed. And inside these methods, we aren't doing much. We are just triggering the cruise. That's it. So now if the review is good, what did we see? If the review is good, then ask it to reorder again. If the review is normal or neutral, suggest it. So let's see these 2 first. So review. So what are we doing? We are calling this particular class good feedback crew. So this is inside this good feedback crew. We have this crew file, and inside this config we have one agent and one task. And what is this agent? It's just a positive feedback motivator. Create a one-liner motivational message to encourage the customer to order again. That's it. And a specific task for that agent. And here we are just creating, we know, right, inside the crew we create the agent, we create the task, and then we create the crew, and inside this crews we'll just map the agents and tasks, and it's a sequential. That's it. So this will just print out 10 motivation message to order again. That's what this good feedback crew will do. That's it. And then the neutral feedback crew, similarly it has a configs. And if you see what is this, this will suggest some restaurants. We are asking suggest a list of alternative restaurants to the customer after receiving neutral feedback, and the respective task for this. And this is the crew. Here we are creating an agent, we are creating a task, and so we are mapping those agents and tasks inside this crew. That's it. So this is not much we are doing. So this is what happens. I will test with the 3 different types of reviews and I'll show you. Now the major part we are doing is in the bad feedback. So what are we doing in the bad feedbacks? If you see here, if the food taste is bad, we have to apologize to the customer and then give him the coupon code and then update the review in the DB. So these are the 2 things. So updating the review in the DB is a extra thing which LLM can't do. So it's a tool. So we have to go with the custom tools here. So if you see here, I'm just creating the connection of the Postgre. That's it. I'm just checking whether the connection is being successful or not. If the connection is being successful, if you see, if you go to the main.py file, it is calling this particular crew method, right? Bad feedback crew, and it is passing 2 inputs. One is review and another is a restaurant name. So the restaurant name is being retrieved by one of our methods above, right? So review is what the user has typed. We are using the state management for storing all these values, review, restaurant name and all. And again, if you see, the restaurant name is being fetched by using the LLM from the review which user has typed. That's it. So now, once if we go to the bad review, what are we doing? So this one. So we are calling this particular class and this particular crew. And inside this crew, we have agents tasks, right? So what are all the agents? So here we have 2 agents. The first agent will apologize for giving the bad food, and also it will provide the coupon code. So now if we go to the config and if we check the agents here, so we have 2 agents: negative feedback apologist, craft one-liner apology message and provide a coupon code. So it will generate a coupon code randomly and it will give it. And the second one is Postgre feedback logger. These are the 2 agents and these are the 2 tasks for those 2 agents. That's it. And now, so this is the agent. This is the agent to update the DB, and now the specific task for the first agent, the specific task for the second agent. Now if you see, it is using tools equal to. So that means we are asking this particular task to use the tools which we are providing. And what is the tool which we are providing? We are calling from this class and this method. You can write the tools inside this particular tools folder as well, but as it's a small thing, I just wrote in the same .py file only. If you come up here feedback tools, and this is a tool explaining the tool, what this tool does, and the method name of the tool, and here it takes 2 arguments, feedback message and the restaurant name. These 2 arguments are being passed while we are calling this particular crew itself. If you see, the restaurant review and the restaurant name is passed, right? So now this particular method, here we are just inserting the data into the DB. That's it. That's what this particular task does, and this is the crew. So now let's test it, whether all these things are working fine or not. So let me clear it out. And to run the CrewAI flow, we have to use CrewAI flow kickoff. That's it. When you do this, so it is saying running the flow. So now what it is saying, so the first thing it has to do is to print out a creative message on the tasty food. So it has printed some creative message and asking to provide the review. So let's check the good scenario ones, which is this one, and then let's check the neutral and let's check the bad scenario last. If you see, I just gave the review as I like the food in the restaurant Kritanga. That's it. Now if you see, it has categorized as good here, and so based on the review, the restaurant you have visited is Kritanga. It has extracted from my text, and now it has triggered the good feedback crew. So if you see, when it's a good feedback, it has to just print out a message, right, with a good text. So if you see, it just printed out your taste buds are hungry for another delightful. So it just printed out some good message on the food. So now let's test the neutral scenario. So it again gave some other message before taking the review, and it is asking to give the review. So I'll just type as, so I'm saying like it's not so good and it's not so bad, it's just okay at restaurant Antera. That's it. So now let's see what it segregates. So it has segregated into neutral, and the restaurant name is Antera. So when the restaurant, when we get the feedback as neutral, it has to suggest some other restaurants, right? So it has suggested these three restaurants. These three restaurants I have mentioned in the task.yaml, right? So it suggested them, and it said it's a Italian cuisine, it's an Indian cuisine, it's a bar experience along with menu full delicious of bar bites and all. So this is how the neutral scenario work. So let's check the bad scenario. In the bad scenario, as we saw, it has to first apologize, give the coupon code, and update the review in the DB. So now let's come to the DB, and when I just query it, if you see, these were my old things which I was testing, and we should get another line here. So let me run the flow. So it gave some good message as per the flow we have here, the first one, and now we have to provide the feedback, and it will categorize as bid. If you see, I just gave the message as I didn't like the food at all at Krishnapatnam restaurant. That's it. So it has segregated as bad, and the restaurant name is Krishnapatnam. So now it has to give us an apology message. We sincerely apologize for your disappointment with your experience at Krishnapatnam restaurant, and to make it up to you, please enjoy 20% off on your visit with coupon code KPR20 off. So it has given the coupon code, and now it has to update in the Postgre, right? So the feedback successfully inserted into the database. So now let's go and check whether it has inserted or not the review. So now if I run it, if you see, I just got it. So this is how we can use CrewAI flows to have some kind of workflows or some event driven workflows and all. That's it. So this is what the flow is, and I just missed one more point which I want to cover up. If you see here, while listening, I could not cover this scenario in the POC which I thought, so I just wanted to show you from the documentation. If you see, while listening, we saw that we were listening to only one method in our main file. If you see, listen was happening only to one method. In case if you want to listen to any one of the method or to some two methods or more than one method, then we have an AND operator, listen, and we can give two methods. If you see, listen or and two methods, something like that. So this is how also we can listen to multiple methods as well. So we can create the workflows with all these options, with listen, router and all these things. That's it. Thank you so much for watching.